7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Upgrade complete. Control point lost. The enemy has stolen the hammer. A control point has been lost. You have been smashed by the hammer. The enemy has captured the hammer. New control point activated. You have taken the hammer. New control point activated. A control point has been lost. You have successfully captured the hammer. The enemy has stolen the hammer. Upgrade complete. The enemy has captured the hammer. The enemy has stolen the hammer. New control point activated. You have captured a control point. Damage buff enabled. The enemy has captured the hammer. You have taken the hammer. You have successfully captured the hammer. New control point activated. New control point activated. Damage buff enabled. A control point has been lost. Upgrade complete. Your team has taken the hammer. The enemy has stolen the hammer. New control point activated. Upgrade complete. New control point activated. Your team has dropped the hammer. Damage buff enabled. Control point has been lost. The opposing team's hammer has been returned. He has been smashed by the hammer. The enemy has captured the hammer. You have taken the hammer. The opposing team's hammer has been returned. New control point activated. Upgrade complete. You have lost a control point. You have captured a control point. The enemy has stolen the hammer. The opposing team has reached 5,000 points. 50% to base exposure. You have taken the hammer. The enemy has dropped the hammer. Your hammer has been returned. You have successfully captured the hammer. New control point activated. The enemy has stolen the hammer. You have taken the hammer. The enemy has dropped the hammer. Successful hammer kill. Your hammer value has increased. Successful hammer kill. Your hammer value has increased. The enemy has stolen the hammer. Your team needs to return the hammer. A control point has been captured. Your team needs to return the hammer. Your team needs to return the hammer. Your team needs to return the hammer. The enemy has dropped the hammer. The enemy has stolen the hammer. Your team needs to return 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 the hammer. You have lost a control point. New control point activated. The enemy has dropped the hammer. A control point has been captured. Your hammer has been returned. You have successfully captured the hammer. Upgrade complete. New controller point activated. You have lost a control point. You have taken the hammer. New controller point activated. You dropped the hammer. The opposing team's hammer has been returned. Upgrade complete. The enemy has stolen the hammer. Control point lost. Your hammer has been returned. New control point activated. The enemy has stolen the hammer. You have been smashed by the hammer. The enemy has captured the hammer. New controller point. You have lost a control point. Damage buff enabled. New controller point activated. New controller point activated. Your team has taken the hammer. Control point lost. Damage buff enabled. Your team has captured the hammer. You have taken the hammer. Successful hammer kill. Your hammer value has increased. 9,000 points earned. 90% to exposing the enemy base. You have successfully captured the hammer. New control point activated. New control point activated. Upgrade complete. The enemy base is now exposed. Upgrade complete. You have lost a control point. Damage buff enabled. You have taken the hammer. You dropped the hammer. The opposing team's hammer has been returned. Your base is now exposed. New control point activated. Damage buff enabled. Your team has taken the hammer. New control point activated. The enemy has stolen the hammer. The enemy has dropped the hammer. Your hammer has been returned. Your team has charged the hammer. The enemy has stolen the hammer. Your team has dropped the hammer. The opposing team's hammer has been returned. You have been smashed by the hammer. New control point activated. The enemy has charged the hammer. New control point activated.